Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Sat Shri Akal, Sikh greeting.
That's welcome.
Thanks for inviting me here. You can hear me, I guess. End of life here, this topic, very broad. I was trying to, when I spoke to you, Sarah, like where to start, which corner to pick and all that. I would say, if in the meantime, while I'm talking, if you have any questions, please feel free to, just raise your hand, and definitely as we move forward, and we'll take it. In Sikhism, I'll start with basic introduction about Sikh religion. Sikh religion comes from India. It's only about 500 some years old. It's one of the youngest religions in the world. Numbers wise, it's the 5th largest religion in the world as of right now. Most of the Sikh men wear a turban and a beard. Sikhs do not cut hair. I have long hair under my turban. We comb it up to a bun, like women have bun in the back, we have bun up on the head. You might have seen some young Sikh boys in schools with small turban and bun on the head. Now, end of life care, we're taught, according to the Guru Granth Sahib, the current living Guru, which is the holy book, that this life can end at any moment. We are people, next second, if I'm going to breathe or not, I'm not sure, because it's so uncertain. This is how, when we are landed onto this earth, our lifespan starts. We don't start with years. We don't count like we have 20 years or 100 years to live or 50 years. Our lifespan is counted with number of breaths. Because time, we just started calculating time. There was no time before. So it's counted in number of breaths that we get every day. And we're taught by the Guru to, every day that we start, make sure, since you don't know when this is going to end, make sure it's worthwhile, do the right things to your neighbors, to your family, to yourself, to your body, to everybody else out there. So when your journey finishes, make sure you achieve salvation, that your journey is successful. Because if you miss this chance, we're going to go into many different life cycles before we get another chance to come back as a human to try one more time. And that could mean, there's lines in Guru Granth Sahib that I came across the other day, Duron Aya Chal Ke, that means I've come from far away. And I asked somebody, what does that mean? I've come from India? No. And the priest said, no, that means your soul has traveled through many different life cycles. And this is the chance you've gotten. If we compare animals, birds, and humans, pretty much we could all do the same things. Birds can see, we can see. Animals can see, we can see. They can hear, we can hear. They can eat, we can eat. They can use the restroom, we can use the restroom, So what's the difference? There's one big difference, huge. That's expression, talking. This is the time to express ourselves. Tell the Lord, thank you for this life. Tell the people around you, we love you as brothers and sisters. Tell the animals who coexist, animals and birds and everybody, learn to live together as one ecosystem together. So most of the Sikhs are vegetarian, do not like to hurt animals or birds, like to kill them for taste and all that. Now, since every day could be end of life day, and this concept is not very popular in India, and I came across when I'm now with this work that we're doing, and so I started thinking about it, what could that mean? So there are prayers which I've seen in many different functions where somebody passed away, and after we had prayers, and my dad actually was suffering from ALS, Lou Gehrig's, and it was a tough time. So taking real-time examples from his life, he was a very tough, strong man, and he was in Indian Air Force back in India. Very strong man, very active person. And all of a sudden, one day, doctor said, I was here actually when it happened, and we had business. He was very active in the business. One day, doctor said, he fell down, and we were like, what happened? And doctor said, after going through a few doctors actually, because there's not one doctor can tell you what it is. So we had to go through many different setup appointments to figure out what really happened. By the time we finally figured out, doctor said about 6 months left, tops. And so at home, all we were doing were just prayers, meditation, and massages that we could do, acupressure, whatever we could do, Reiki, whoever taught us good stuff, we just kept applying at that time. And now a person all his life who's been trying to live a Sikh way of life, and at the last minute, although the person knows that time is up, and last minute, if your Sikh way of life is breached, that's the moment really tough. My wife's uncle, he was in a care center somewhere in Staten Island, and we went to visit him one day, and we were shocked to see his face. His beard was cut off. And we're like, what is this? And to him, he couldn't speak much English, and he told us that he was crying and telling people, hey, stop it. They're like, no, we're trying to clean you up and, trying to make your life, make you clean and all that stuff. And it was so mentally torturing for that person. Imagine at this age in life, all his life he was a Sikh. He's gone through many different tough times, in various stages of life, partitions, Holocaust, you can say genocides, attacks, racial attacks, and all that, still preserving their faith. And on the last minute, if this is how it ends, it was really, really painful. We spoke to the hospital and explained them, and they apologized and all that. But now, looking at all this, I think it's a good idea to have a dialogue and talk about this, because this is how people come to know. I'm sure the hospital people didn't have bad intentions to do so, but lack of knowledge, lack of awareness was very, it was needed. So, at the end of life, the Guru says, especially on the last moments, it clearly says in the Holy Book, just repeat the name of the Lord. Just think about God. Don't think about money. Don't think about women. Don't think about your children. Don't think what's going to happen to your next generation. There are references in the Holy Book, a couple lines vaguely, if I remember, any person who's on the last stage of life is thinking about his properties might come back, live like a ghost in those properties. These are references, clearly. Anybody who's, there are a few other examples which are there. Bottom line is to make this life successful, whether it's end of life or before life. Do the right thing, be nice to your neighbor, be nice to you, people around you, be nice to your own family. Take out some time to say, hey, I love you, I care for you. A lot of the times we're just running day to day. I gotta go, I don't have time. Wife calls, no, I'm in a rush, talk to me fast. Son calls, son, I gotta go, I can't talk to you. They're like, we don't have time for the family, for anybody out there. So end of life could be every day, any moment, or it could be in the hospital. So especially with institutions, hospitals, care centers, I think it's very important. We, the people at the hospital, should know the person, the patient who's there, what are their religious beliefs, how they should be handled. And a lot of times we also have another problem, food. Anyway, vegetarian food, and there's different criteria of vegetarian food. Some people think vegetarian could mean they could eat fish, they could eat eggs. Vegetarian means vegetation, simple as that. That's another big problem that I've seen myself. My mom went to the hospital a couple of times and they brought an egg sandwich, egg salad. I'm like, it's not vegetarian. So there is a need to look into these directions. Besides, so it's the spirituality side, and then there's physical side needs, taking care, combing the hair, taking bath, bathing every day, basic necessities, which are very important. Also, stretching and prolonging the life. Putting the ventilator on, my dad had to go through that situation, and we were asked what could be, what is it that you would like to do? It was such a tough decision. Now, when the body has given up completely, and we're just putting ventilator on so the body could be lying on the bed and just breathing and breathing and breathing, not getting anywhere. There's no chance of improving the health. We know the situation's going worse and worse. So those kind of decisions, I would leave it up to the families to decide. You know, God's given a signal, time to go, doctor's telling 6 months, and all the medical records are showing and telling us that there's no chance of coming back with these kind of diseases. We chose not to put the ventilator on and prolong his sufferings. You know, we chose to just let it end the natural way, the normal way that's possible out there. And till the last second and minute, the best thing we could have given him was the prayers. And believe it or not, when we sat down and did prayers with him, meditation with him, I think I've never done so much prayers and meditation in my life after that or before that. But that was a peaceful time because we saw him suffering all along. But that moment, let's say we spent 1 hour, he was in peace. So that's telling me, hey, we got to do more of that. We got to do more of that so I don't end up into a situation like that. It's not just all about how to handle end-of-life care. It's how to handle, live my life so I don't end up in that situation, period. There are better ways to die. This is a bad thing to say, but some people just go away to sleep. Also, in Sikhism, physical death is not a death, because that's the time our soul's going back to the Lord, and accounting would start. It's like you getting a visa for America for 5 years. So you got 5 years time. Let's see what you could do. What you could earn. Same way, our soul gets a chance to live a life of a certain type, and then we go back and answer into that, start again, depending on our deeds, good or bad deeds, our future journeys are decided. Yes?
Yes, curious. Are there any possibilities that you will contemplate if someone could return from a demise state? Because it seems as though when they're told that their time is cut off, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are in terms of Sikhs and also from a medical perspective.
Possibility of returning at, I'm sorry, say that again?
So let's say, for example, there are many who have been declared dead, but they came back and, are able to survive from off the ventilator, and relatively doing well. So the conceptualization is once they reach a point of ending, that's it. How does your religion handle it? And speak to a medical perspective also.
I think it would be more of a family decision at that moment. But as far as religion, prayers do the magic. If we're doing the right thing at that moment, and it has happened, there are cases where people have been diagnosed with severe cancers, and they started listening to the prayers. They started reading prayers. And the doctor said, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks. And today, those people are walking perfectly fine out there. So there are cases. Medically, I would leave it up to the family instead of our religion. Sikh religion is very not forcing people to believe in a certain way. It's very realistic. How things, put them in the real perspective and analyze. Doesn't really make sense to do this. That's what it is at the end of the day.
We have to move to the next.